Stay tuned for the biggest fish, the hottest bites, this week here on In-Depth Outdoors. With James Holst.
Look at that. Wow, is that an incredible fish?
And the rest of the IDO fishing team. We're headed to the best fisheries across the upper Midwest and Canada. We'll fish longer, explore unfished bodies of water, and go further off the beaten path in search of the hottest bites in fresh water. With Pat McSherry.
All right, what a fish.
Andy Fiocco.
Wow. Look at the colors on this fish.
And Mike Anselmo.
Man, he's bumping.
This is In-Depth Outdoors.
Good morning, everyone. James Holst here with In-Depth Outdoors, and today we have a completely different type of show for you. Now, while we love doing current TV shows, chasing around the Midwest and Canada, looking for that next hot bite, we've noticed something that we really have to address, and that is, since we've reintroduced the Spot on the Spot ID, we've received an almost overwhelming amount of interaction from people that watch the show. And so much of that interaction was asking for additional explanations for terminology. What is common to me and other anglers I fish with might not be common or well understood by people watching the show. So in today's episode, we're gonna really start to lay the groundwork for a good understanding of the terminology that we're using to explain why we're fishing a particular piece of structure. Because I believe strongly that what separates your very successful angler from someone that might not be as successful is not in their ability to catch fish. It's their ability to find them. Once you find the fish, just about anybody can catch them. So in today's episode, we're gonna cover 4 key types of structure. We're gonna fish with 4 different pro staff members on 4 different bodies of water. Not only will we define what that type of structure is, we're also gonna show you how to fish it. So we'll kick it off on Lake Irvin, fishing a classic shoreline transition with Joel Nelson.
You know, we just drilled a couple holes. We're fishing just north of Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and this is part of the challenge, right? We're fishing a new body of water. I've never been on it. James, I don't think you've ever been on it.
I feel lost. We're trying to find rock, that rubbly shoreline of the old lake edge, but right now we're still kind of in search mode. So far we've been a little bit too deep, but we'll keep punching holes. We'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, here's the break, James. We just lost a foot. We're right at about 7.5, 8 feet.
Got him.
That a boy.
Not a giant, but a nice walleye.
Come on, baby.
That fish come up and just
Throttled it, huh?
eyeballed that spoon.
Oh, you're good now.
But man, when it decided to crank on it, it just lunchboxed it.
Look at him.
All right, I can deal with that. Lake Irvin, so far, good to me. And what I like about this is it's early in the day. Hopefully the fish gods reward us with a bunch of walleyes. As that barometer really switches, as the wind direction comes from the south and blows out of the north, something's got to break loose.
Yeah, we're hoping for a flurry right now. And you know, James is fishing a jig and spoon, and we're fishing as a true team right now. It's the way you got to pick apart a big lake like this one. Nice fish, James.
Yeah.
I'm fishing fast. I'm fishing a rip and wrap. I'm hitting hole to hole to hole. James is a little bit more methodical with that jigging spoon, and we also have some iFish pros out, so we're literally hitting everything we can, trying to go fast, medium, and slow and see what the fish want.
Covering the bases, because we don't know beans about fishing Lake Irvin.
Not yet.
We know how to ice fish.
Absolutely.
We don't know how to ice fish here. This one, I don't like his future. It's short, and I kind of know where this fish is going. He's going home with me. All right.
He's perfect. Look at him.
So that fish cleaned that minnow off my spoon. I'm gonna throw this thing back in and see if we can't catch another one.
Zing, just like that. Ooh. Ooh, come on.
If you need help, let me know. I got
Nice
one working
fish.
here too.
Oh man, this is just hand to fish combat here in this shallow water. Come on, girl, turn. Nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, just woofed it. And look at that. Gone. I gotta get my jig back here. All right, we're starting to figure out a pattern. I've got a couple holes here shallow that have boulders in them. I can feel it when I drop the bait to bottom. I can literally feel the bait hit the boulder, slide off the edge. And what I've been doing is actually taking that bait and just dropping it hard into those rocks, in and all around it. And the last fish actually hit it without me even seeing it on the graph. This fish showed up above it. I brought it above its head and it just, bam, just cracked it. So look at that thing. Just another beautiful eater.
In-Depth Outdoors, Spot on the Spot ID.
So in this first segment, we talk about transitions, and very often anglers will think of transitions as changes in depth. When I use the term transition area, very often I'm not referring to a change in depth as much as I'm talking about area where two types of bottom composition meet up, where there's a very noticeable and sharp change from rock to sand or gravel to weeds. Those types of areas are preferred by predators because it's a great place to find food. Very often that transition area is very fertile. So on Lake Irvin, the lake had flooded multiple times, and every time it flooded, it would create a new shoreline only to flood further. So in this first segment, Fishing with Joel, we had an old artificial shoreline, basically at 5 to 8 feet, where the waves over time had exposed a lot of the rock and kind of cleaned it off. Now, as you went shallower, the rocks got smaller and even turned to sand. And of course, when you got deeper, there was a very sharp transition line that went from that old shoreline rock out into silty sand. So it's a transition area like this, one that you can't see above water. And certainly you're not going to be able to see it on a topographical map because they don't show rocks and weeds and sand to silt transitions yet. Maybe they will in the future. But they're still an area worth looking for because they can still represent that hot spot that every ice angler wants to uncover.
The lithium laser and lithium chipper from StrikeMaster deliver power on demand with the push of a button and an industry-leading 50-volt lithium-ion battery. Reach for the lithium laser if you need unmatched hole punching speed, or opt for the lithium chipper if you need the durability of chipper blades for opening old holes or drilling in dirty ice. No matter which auger is right for the way you fish, reach for a StrikeMaster Lithium, the electric auger with power to spare.
From the first time you pick up a tuned-up custom rod, you'll know you're holding something special. A rod not mass-produced, but built one at a time by the hands of gifted craftsmen. Rods like the Precision, ice fishing's most versatile multi-species rod, or the Precision Noodle with a tip so sensitive you'll never fish a spring bobber again. And the Commander, the rod that's never met a big fish it couldn't best. Tuned-up custom rods. Ice rods handcrafted for you and the way you fish.
This winter, set a trap for your next trophy with iFish Pro. Ideal for all species, iFish Pro is an innovative fishing system that allows an angler to use their favorite rod and reel instead of trying to manage the fish hand over hand. Complete your ice fishing arsenal with iFish Pro, tactical ice gear that puts the fight back into tip-up fishing.
Look at that.
Find iFish Pro online at ifishpro.com or at your favorite sporting goods retailer.
So the second term we really want to talk about are inside turns. I think it's commonly a misunderstood term, and to me, this is classic walleye fishing at its finest. And once you have a real good understanding of what you're looking for out of a good inside turn, finding walleyes out there on the ice or in a boat gets a lot easier. So we're up here on Lake of the Woods. In the second segment, I'm going to be fishing with Dave Kuntz, and I really want to break down how fish interact with this type of structure. So we've got deeper water here, moves all the way between these two islands. And during the day, fish that are inactive will move in that deeper water. And when it comes time to feed, very often, they're not gonna come up this very steep break. What they're gonna do is they're gonna swim along that steep break and come to an area, this inside turn right here, where you can see the break isn't nearly as sharp. The contour lines are much more widely spaced, and those walleyes will swim right along that edge, make a right turn into that inside turn, and start to come up this flat. Now, once they're up here on this much more slower tapering flat, they're a lot harder to find. They're just free roaming. Right there in that inside turn is the spot on the spot. And once your eyes know what to look for out of a good inside turn and have an understanding of how fish will move in a deep basin area like this and where they prefer to come up on a shallower piece of structure, you can really put the odds in your favor.
I'm gonna catch this one. This one's got
You got one, Coach.
This one's got the tuned up bent pretty good, James.
Better not be a false alarm. Holy smokes. You're rocking the pink, buddy. Look at that.
That is
Get up
awesome.
in there. Nice.
Wow.
Sure, the one where I actually should have been here earlier. You did it yourself.
That was kick butt. Holy smokes.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful fish. Pump.
That is nice. I don't think my tuned up goes quite that far.
The panfish aren't that big on the Mississippi River.
You know, them ripping wraps are just kick butt.
Yes, they are.
You know, no minnows, no minnow heads to deal with, and we're hole hopping, and it's just nice.
Under the right circumstances, or dynamite. That's a beautiful fish. That's bigger than the one I had. This is the exact same hole where I got my big fish out of it.
My hole.
Move your feet, lose your seat, right? Nicely done, man.
Right on.
This is the hole.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you wander away very far, I'm gonna come right in and take it from you.
Here she goes.
Nicely done. This is getting comical in all the best ways. You know, you got these just crazy bright conditions right now, high skies, and on a lot of bodies of water, I'd be really upset. But here on Lake of the Woods, this just seems to charge the fish up. In these bodies of water where the clarity is really stained, really nice fish. We have been very, very fortunate today. Basically came out, caught our eaters at will, and now it's just big fish time, which of course we love very, very much. These fish, it's probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they are just engulfing these baits. No hesitation whatsoever. All right. Got to go in and pop that bugger loose. There we go. One hook, both hooks are loose. Beautiful fish, probably in that 20-21 inch range. Midday fish like this, boy, you can't complain about that at all. I'll let that one go. All right, see you later. So this is probably a great time to talk about the type of structure that we're fishing here. We've got an island over my shoulder, obviously. And coming off of this island is a point, an underwater point that you can't see above water. And it extends out to about 22 foot and then just drops fairly rapidly out into the deepest water around this island. It's about 32, 33 feet. And how we chose the area to fish is really pretty simple. This underwater point has a slowly tapering side and it has a sharply breaking side. And what we like about that area on this sharp breaking side is that it concentrates the fish. The depth change from 27, 28 feet up to the top of this finger in 22 is very small. It happens very quickly. On the other side, it actually takes a long time to make that depth change. I guarantee you there's fish there. They're just spread out around a much greater area, so it's harder for Dave and I to get on concentrations of fish. So you come up to this area, you look at these islands, you're looking for underwater structure that sticks off of the islands, and look for the sharp breaking side. If you can find the sharp breaking side and where that finger point ends as it goes out into deeper water, that's usually money.
Markham's new pocket-sized handheld underwater cameras, the Recon 5 and 5 Plus, use a 5-inch color display to deliver superior screen detail and employ a combination of dark water LED and infrared lighting to punch through the darkness. The Recon 5 Plus adds a built-in DVR and on-screen display for critical information, previously only available on full-sized underwater viewing systems. This winter, see what you've been missing with a Recon from Markham Technologies, the undisputed leader in underwater cameras.
Everything you'd expect from a premium quality fish house and so much more. Glacier combines superior craftsmanship and premium quality materials to produce a comfortable and enjoyable mobile base camp for your next outdoor adventure. Available in a variety of models, a Glacier Ice House offers more standard features, more usable space, and a better fit and finish than the competition. Visit our website at glacierIcehouse.com to find a dealer near you and see why a Glacier Fish House is the ultimate way to play.
At Aluma, we're in it for the long haul. That's why we make the longest-lasting, most rugged trailers on the road. Flatbeds, bike haulers, tilt trailers, and enclosed. If you have a lot to move, we've got your way to move it. Our lightweight aluminum trailers will handle even your heaviest loads. At Aluma, we are right behind you with an industry-leading 5-year warranty. Because every trip and every load is valued.
This winter, set a trap for your next trophy with iFish Pro. Ideal for all species, iFish Pro is an innovative fishing system that allows an angler to use their favorite rod and reel instead of trying to manage the fish hand over hand. Complete your ice fishing arsenal with iFish Pro, tactical ice gear that puts the fight back into tip-up fishing.
Look at that.
Find iFish Pro online at ifishpro.com or at your favorite sporting goods retailer.
So the third type of structure I really want to talk about is offshore structure. And the reason for that is there's very reliable seasonal movements of fish, particularly walleyes, as they move from shoreline structure. And shoreline structure to me can be islands. Anything that comes up above the surface. Shoreline structure obviously is anything where there's trees, houses, lawns, but offshore structure is a little bit different. Offshore structure will typically be in deeper water and surrounded by softer bottom. And that's very important because as you move deeper into the ice fishing season, you'll have this very consistent movement of walleyes from shallow water to deep. And they're going to set up around structure with very soft bottom composition. They're going to be feeding on bugs primarily, and of course the walleyes are going to follow after them. That's what Will and I were keying on in this third segment. We're targeting walleyes on Mille Lacs Lake that are actually chasing schools of tullibees that are running up along the edge of this sand hump that we're fishing. And just to further illustrate how sharp the change in bottom composition can be for an offshore piece of structure, there's actually a side scan built into the map we're looking at right here. Take a look at the photo. Anytime you see white like that, that's a real hard bottom. And as you look around that photo, what you see is just a real dark bottom. That's a very soft, silty bottom. And we might even have a fish or an isolated rock over here further north on that map. So be looking for these offshore pieces of structure. A lot of times anglers will really key in on that shoreline structure. They can see it very often. It'll be islands that come above the surface or the actual shoreline itself. It gives them a visual reference. But once you get comfortable getting out away from shoreline structure, visible structure, and targeting these offshore humps, you're going to be much more successful, particularly as you move deeper into the ice fishing season.
It's coming back. Oh, not a bad fish. There we go. Another beautiful fish. I just came back into this hole. I've been out fishing a little bit deeper water, probably 50, 100 feet over. Tried several holes and I marked fish. But we came back in here, there's not nearly as many fish coming through on the shallower edge of the reef, but when they come through, they're really hungry. Every time I've seen a good mark, they've smoked it. I have no doubt that we're going to catch plenty more, so we're going to let this one go. Thanks, buddy.
Come on. Got him. Oh, it feels like a decent fish, very solid. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Get up and out of there. Oh, I love that sound, big head shake. Woo.
Well, that's giving your rod some bend.
Yes, it is. Oh, it's a big walleye, it's a big walleye. We got our head turned sideways. Oh, there she is.
Good fish.
Oh. Nice fish. Heck yeah. This is such a cool pattern. All right. This is a pretty cool deal here. Green UV and a minnow head. That's a mid 20-inch fish, just fat and beautiful. Dig everything about this. We're getting them in about 18 foot of water right now. I'd tell you the fish were gonna come up and move shallower as the sun went down, but in this spot, they can't get any shallower. They're coming right in on top of this shallower sand. We've got 22, 23 feet inshore of us. We've got 25, 26 feet, basically towards the main lake side, about 50 feet from where I'm sitting. So we've got this shallower sand sitting here, and typically these fish will come in under low light conditions and feed, but obviously today it's like the never-ending low light period. Haven't seen any sun all day long. Just a beautiful fish. And you know, Mille Lacs is kind of known for peaks and valleys in the bait fish populations. And what ends up happening is you'll go a year or two where the walleyes are a little thinner. And of course now we're on a peak as far as bait fish are concerned, and the walleyes are just fat. Huge even. They look more like river walleyes to me than Mille Lacs Lake walleyes typically do. So the fish are in great shape overall. And the nice thing is, having all the bait fish in the lake doesn't seem to be inhibiting our ability to catch them. Some years, things can go a little bit too far with the bait fish numbers. You end up with so many of those 2 and 3 inch perch, it becomes almost impossible to catch the walleyes, but that's obviously not the case today. And what we're using, I think we're both using 1/8 ounce spoons. I think Will's using a little bit different shape. This is the 1/8 ounce rattle spoon, VMC. I'm fishing a green UV. I believe Will was using the same weight spoon. That was a Flash Champ in glow red. So I've got a rattle. I think he's fishing a spoon without one. I don't really think the fish are being all that picky right now. They're definitely coming in after those minnow heads, dancing underneath these spoons though. I need a minnow.
Markham Technologies unleashes GPS with the release of the RT9, the first to combine sonar, underwater camera, and navionics mapping in a 9-inch ruggedized touchscreen tablet. Built on the Android operating system, the Wi-Fi-enabled RT9 can be used as a standalone tablet, or snap into the cradle, or performance pack for unmatched portability. Ice electronics the way they were meant to be. Sonar, GPS, underwater camera, one unit. Experience the RT9 from Markham Technologies. Markham's new pocket-sized handheld underwater cameras, the Recon 5 and 5 Plus, use a 5-inch color display to deliver superior screen detail and employ a combination of dark water LED and infrared lighting to punch through the darkness. The Recon 5 Plus adds a built-in DVR and on-screen display for critical information, previously only available on full-sized underwater viewing systems. This winter, see what you've been missing with a Recon from Markham Technologies, the undisputed leader in underwater cameras.
So in this final segment of today's show, we're going to be talking about basin areas of lakes and the patterns that you can expect to find when you're looking at that type of structure. Now, I think there's a lot of confusion about basin patterns in general. Anglers very often will think, well, just find the deepest water. Well, most fish species, once you get past 35, 38 foot of water, they just don't live in water that deep, excluding, say, like lake trout. So really, when we're talking about basin patterns, we're primarily talking about walleye, perch, and crappie. And very rarely do I ever find a good basin bite deeper than 40 feet. In fact, most of the really good basin bites I've ever been on for walleye, crappie, or perch have all been in that 28 to 35 foot of water. So lakes that have a real large area of their lake devoted to a very flat, unchanging part of the lake in that depth range are often very productive basin bodies of water. So for reference, we've got a lake here. You can see there's a lot of shallow water here in the southern portion and two primary deeper areas of water. This one bottoms out at 30 feet. This area bottoms out at 34. Now, I can just about guarantee you, if I was to go fish this lake in, say, mid-January on through late ice, I would check this spot and that spot. And if there's crappies in that lake, that's where I'm gonna find them. So don't necessarily think about basins as the deepest water possible, or don't get pulled into areas of a lake where you'll have a huge shallow expanse with one very small area of deeper water nearby. That's probably not gonna be large enough to really pull and hold the amount of fish that you're gonna be looking for to target. Areas like this, where you've got large expanses of basin in that 25 to 35 foot of water, are really what you're looking for and can be the key to a consistent bite midwinter through ice out. Oh yeah. Oh, there he is. We are coming into a wonderful time of the afternoon here. You know, this is a technique, kind of a general presentation that as a kid in southern Minnesota, holy smokes, we used to get on better than average size fish. And let me tell you, this is way better than average size right there. Look at that thing. That is a slab and a half. We are gonna have some fun. You got a rod with you, Phil? Because
yes,
I got crappie marks just staring at us.
I'm gonna move over here. You found them, James.
I can't take any credit for it. That hole there has Phil's name all over it. You punched it. Look at that fish. Just an absolute pie. Biggest crappie I've caught this year by far. Fishing that 1/12 of an ounce tumbler spoon in glow goldfish. Really cool color, just tipped it with a couple wax worms. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time gabbing about this fish because I've got a whole bunch more down there on the fish finder on the LX9. So back this fish goes, back you go, big pie. All right, I'm gonna talk and drop at the same time here. Now what we're doing here is we're fishing an area adjacent to a basin. A basin is like the deepest part of this lake. And we're up on top of a flat adjacent to that deeper water, and these bigger fish will come up out of that deeper water where they kind of spend most of their days, and they get up in the shallow water, and this is where they're going to feed heavily and aggressively until we just kind of lose light for the day. You know, a lot of times guys will make the mistake of staying out in that deeper water as you start to lose light levels. And so very often what ends up happening is the most aggressive and the biggest crappies will come up shallow. But let me tell you, when you find them up here just a little bit shallower, they're almost always bigger than those fish that roam out deeper. That first fish I had definitely kind of set the standard. That's a nice fish anywhere. You know, back where I'm from in the metro in Minnesota, I'd be happy to catch fish like this, but that is just an absolute little guy compared to that first fish I just iced. Things are gonna get busy. So I'm gonna let that fish go, rifle him right back down. Get that back down. And as a crappie angler, this is what you want to see right here. So that brings us to the end of today's show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Definitely a different type of show for us here at In-Depth Outdoors, and if we get good feedback, we'll definitely consider doing more like this in the future. Here at In-Depth Outdoors, we're always interested in doing two things. One, having a lot of fun out there on the water, whether it be ice or in a boat, and teaching everybody that tunes into our show how to become better anglers. But don't be surprised if you see more shows like this one in the very near future. When we start to see Spot on the Spot ID segments followed up with lots of questions from the viewers, you can be sure that we're going to find a way to cover those basics that are missing. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
For more info on the latest fish reports, gear recommendations, and hottest techniques, connect with us online at indepthoutdoors.com or follow us on Facebook at In-Depth Outdoors. And if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to let our sponsors know.